This Grizzly Wulff uses the recipe in Dave Hughes' American Fly Tying Manual. I am tying it on a number 14 dry fly hook with black thread. I'm using, according to the recipe, bucktail for the tail and the wing. I'll start with the wing. I have a clump of bucktail that I'm going to clean and stack. To clean the bucktail, just grab the tips and then pull out all of the short fibers from underneath. I find it easier to take the butt ends then of that clump and stick them in the bottom side of the stacker. Since I'm going to be tying them in with the tips over the eye of the hook, I'm angling or tipping the stacker in that direction so I can just grab the tips, pull them out of the stacker. The wing is, about the shank length, I guess, but tied in with plenty of room behind the eye for the hackle. Try to keep that on top of the shank. Be a little bit short. Okay. And just wrap behind it. Loose wraps first and then cinch it down. Grab those tips and pull them back and up so I can wrap underneath of them and get them to stand up. Just going to build a little dam underneath of the wing. Get it to stand up straight without trapping any of the hairs. And I'll bring my thread back behind and a couple more wraps, and then I'm going to clip this off at an angle. And go ahead and wrap up over that angle. Bring my thread back where I'm going to tie in the tail. So there is some debate about whether you really need to split the wing or not. Maybe just fan it. I'm just going to fan the wing, although you can split it. Maybe more properly it should be split, but when you add the hackle to it, it doesn't really show the split anyway. I'm taking a smaller clump of hair from that bucktail for the tail. Again, I'm going to grab it by the tips and pull out all the short stuff. Put that in the stacker. Pull it out of the stacker with the tips towards the tail end. And maybe a little bit shorter than hook shank length. Grab those tips and wrap up over them and cinch those in. And grab the butt ends from the tail and clip those out. And then I'll bring my thread back up to the wing. I really want that wing to stand up more, and I think it will when I put the hackle in it. I'm using yellow floss according to the recipe for the body. Tie the floss in up here behind the wing. And then I'll wrap the floss down the body towards the tail and then back up to the wing, and that will give me 2 layers, and that will cover all the black thread and hair. Touching, overlapping wraps, I guess, keeping it tight. Bring it back up here behind the wing, and I'll go ahead and catch that in. Put 3 wraps over the top of it, pull back on it, and wrap a couple under, and then I can clip out the floss. The Hackle is brown and grizzly both. I don't have a straight brown Hackle, but I have this furnace which is brown on the outside, although it's black in the middle, but I think that's okay. I'm going to strip off the fibers at the butt end. And you can stack these together and wrap them individually or together. I think it's one less step just to wrap them together, but strip off those ends and then wrap a couple wraps behind the wing, and then bring the thread in front and grab those stems. You may need to clip them if they're too long. I've got a little fiber there from the wing, but that's all right. So I'm just going to grab those 2 Hackle feathers together and wrap a couple, try to keep them together, a couple wraps behind the wing, and then I'll bring them up in front of the wing, and 3 or 4 wraps depending how much room I have out here in front. Try to keep the wing fibers and the Hackle fibers from getting out in front of that eye too much. I grab the wing there, keep the wing out of the way. Alright. And I filled up my space. I'll go ahead and wrap up over that Hackle. Not catch the wing. Grab all of it, pull back on it. And I'm going to have to do a little bit of cleanup over that eye, but that's all right. Wrap the head. Go ahead and clip out the Hackle. Put a whip finish on it. I'm going to head cement it so I don't need too many wraps on that whip. And go ahead and clean up around that eye a little bit. That's not too bad. Could singe this too. I just find when I singe that I end up taking more fibers from the Hackle than I want. And then I'm going to put some diluted Goop head cement. I'll put a recipe for this in the instructor in the description. Just dip a needle in my bottle and grab a drop and put that on the head. So the Grizzly Wulff from the instructions, from the recipe, in Dave Hughes' American Fly Tying Manual, I'm going to pass a hackle feather through the eye just to make sure that it's clean and ready for tippet.